Hey guys, I'm going to introduce you to a new house today, but you might be familiar with the man behind the brand as he has another brand called One Day. Probably the more popular from the brand is called Oolong Tea, which we featured in a kit a couple years ago. Really awesome smoky tea, almost like tobacco tea, I should say. And then he also has another fragrance from One Day called Taipei, which is also currently in a Scent Club kit of ours. But today I'm introducing a brand that he's launched called Epichron. And we have two fragrances from the house, Twin Peaks and Nightchild. Let me know if you're familiar with this house and the fragrances, if you've got your nose on them. So we have two different fragrances here from Epichron. That's the only two fragrances they have. Twin Peaks is created by Michael Wong and Nightchild is created by Michael Nordstrand. I guess an independent perfumer. I met Michael Wong in the past, and very nice guy from Hong Kong. And of course, as I said, he's got the brand One Day, and this is a new project that they are launching fragrances with. So the first fragrance that I smelled from the house, Epichron, is Twin Peaks. And we also have, as I said, Nightchild. They're both smoky fragrances, but they go in different directions. But if you're curious to learn more about this house, I have it linked in the info box. They are sold at Lucky Scent currently. There is a 10% off in the info box as well that you can take advantage of if you're curious to try any of these fragrances from Epichron. So let's talk about Twin Peaks first, but I want to show you the presentation a little bit as well because I really enjoy the presentation. This is Twin Peaks. And it comes in a sleeve like that, a blue sleeve, and then we've got the box right there. Kind of really cool design work they've got going on here. And it comes with a really nice little booklet in there as well. Epichron right there. And a little booklet explaining the fragrances as well. And this thing, is it a sticker? Looks like it's a sticker as well. So, but yeah, nice presentation. When you go through this little booklet, you do have the notes breakdown, as you can see back there, on there. But that's the presentation for the brand. And let me show you the bottles. The bottles are nice and they kind of look like the One Day bottles, but different colors, obviously. But kind of looking to me like apothecary type bottles. But I'm going to do the first one, Twin Peaks first, because it's my favorite of the two. Also, Twin Peaks is Extrait Parfum, whereas Nightchild is Eau de Parfum. The concentration for Twin Peaks is 32% and Nightchild is 20%. But let's talk about Twin Peaks. Actually, if you guys ever visited San Francisco, we have a whole area called Twin Peaks here. So it's interesting that I'm reviewing a fragrance called Twin Peaks. But Twin Peaks has notes of bergamot, incense, lapsang, tea leaves, black tea, honey, rose absolute, atlas cedarwood, musk, Haiti vetiver. So I think Michael Wong likes to work with tea because if you recall, One Day has an entire tea collection fragrances. In fact, I've done a video on that collection on the channel. If you're curious to learn more about that collection, you can go catch that video. But this is a tea fragrance in that, first of all, you get the rosiness and you also get green stemminess. So there's a greenness here and there's also the rosiness, but it's almost like it's toasted roses because it is smoky and it's almost like the rose has been smoked or something. And you not only smell the rose flower, it's kind of darker and deeper. And then you're also picking up the greenness of the stems or maybe the leaves of the rose mixed in together with a honey tea effect and the overdose of the smokiness. So it is a quite long-lasting fragrance. I received one compliment with this one as well. The other thing that this does is gives me scent memories that I'm completely unfamiliar with, but I like the scent memories because it reminds me of something I've smelled. Maybe it reminds me of a rose fragrance I'm familiar with that it's reminding me of. Yeah, I do call this quite a thorny kind of rose because I'm getting that kind of sharp greenness contrasted against the rose and of course the smokiness, the honey touches, the resinous touches because there's some, incensey notes in here as well. You've got this interesting tea fragrance that it's almost like rose tea. And if you're familiar with rose tea, or if you're familiar with teas, there are teas out there that are kind of flavored with roses, or they might even throw in the rose petals with the tea. And the tea kind of turns out to be smoky. The only thing that's kind of unique with this one is that you're getting a lot of that greenness, but it's quite an awesome combination of notes together. And it makes for a very addicting quality fragrance. The thing I'm getting with this one that I'm also not getting, I'm getting a lot of smokiness because it is quite smoky. But I feel like the tea notes that are in here, we've got the Lapsang tea leaves and then also the black tea. To me, it's not acting so super tea-like, more like toasted smokiness, because, you know, tea has to be roasted and toasted, I guess. Not toasted, roasted. And so I'm getting more of that kind of a toasty, roasted kind of a smokiness rather than the authentic tea experience that I get with other tea fragrances. So I wouldn't really call this a tea fragrance, at least on me. It doesn't wear like it. It does wear like rose. It does wear green. And of course, it also wears honeyed and smoky as well. But I have to be honest, it's quite delicious when you wear it. On skin, it's better than on the strip. The rosiness does appear more. But I feel like once the fragrance settles, it's a nice combo of greenness with the rose. And remember, I said it's kind of a smoked or toasted rose. So it's thorny as well because of a lot of the greenness in there. Plus sweetened up by the honey and all that resinous touches as well. Really great combination of notes. And I'm still trying to figure out what it's reminding me of. I can't figure it out. But I like what I'm smelling. And it's kind of an addicting smell. All of the notes together are working really, really perfectly. So that is Twin Peaks by Epichron. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. If you've gotten your nose on these fragrances, do let me know. And if you're familiar with one-day fragrances also, do let me know. And as I said, if you want to find out more info on these fragrances, it's linked in info box. You can go to Lucky Scent and check them out there. All right, the next fragrance I'm going to review for you guys or talk to you guys about is Nightchild. This is the second fragrance from this house. So this is coming as an eau de parfum concentration, so 20%. And I can see maybe they set out to do an extrait like the Twin Peaks, but this has got a denseness about it, an intensity about it. I think if you increase the intensity, I think the fragrance would be completely different. So I'm quite happy with the concentration, but it is definitely my second favorite in the collection. I prefer Twin Peaks more. This is also kind of an acquired taste. It's quite smoky and dark. And it's created by Michael Nordstrand. It's featuring notes of Clary sage, Chrysanthemum, Cistus, Cypress leaf, Gentian root, Labdanum, Frankincense, Nootka spruce, Lavender, Chinese cedar, Patchouli, Candlewood, Cade, and Musk. So this actually also gives me some scent memories, but it reminds me of another fragrance that I'm kind of familiar with. This reminds me a little bit of the brand Labdanum and the fragrance Sacre, and instantly kind of got very minerally touches with this one, but quite smoky and resinous and very incense or frankincense forward. It is very smoky, but it's blended with a lot of aromatics with all the resins and the smokiness and also the ambery touches. There's a lot of greenness and aromatic touches as well. Now there's a chrysanthemum note in this, and chrysanthemum is not a note that comes up frequently in fragrances. I actually really like the way the chrysanthemum smells. So I'm always looking to find fragrances that feature this note because, as I said, it doesn't come up that often. So I quite like it in here. It's a nice contrast against the smokiness, the ambery resinous touches. And it provides a very green aromatic, almost an herbal quality. And it almost gives me like a very rooty kind of, I'm thinking cypress tree, maybe pine tree, because the greenness is kind of mixed in with the woodiness, smokiness, and the intensity of the density of woods. So it's giving me like this dusty tree base where you're picking up the smell of the greenness and the leaves and all of its scent. Plus you're picking up the kind of dustiness of the base of the tree. So it's quite woody, but also very, very green. And there's definitely a lot of smokiness in here as well. And I'm definitely picking up some minerally touches as well, because there is definitely a resinous quality here with all of the notes. But the fact that they have, aromatic notes, they have green kind of herbal notes here, it just gives me that kind of a vibe. Like if you've ever gone to the Redwood Forest in Northern California, you've actually walked around these big trees, huge, humongous trees, and it's kind of dusty, dry, woody there, but there is a greenish kind of aromatic smell in the air because of all the leaves. So it's the combo of the base of the tree, all the woods, and the dustiness plus the aromatic greenness of the trees is kind of what I get with an incensey smokiness as well. So that's Nightchild. It's kind of a dark fragrance, and I feel like both fragrances have a greenness. I feel like Nightchild is a bit more greener than Twin Peaks. But what I like about the Twin Peaks is how it just contrasts and cuts through everything else to give you the greenness. It's like a thorn, like it's a sharp thorn, but in a green form, if that makes sense. But you know, both the fragrances are great. I prefer Twin Peaks more than Nightchild, but I have a friend who's a fan of Sakura by Labdanum, and when they smelled this, they instantly said that reminds me of Sakura. But I smell them side by side. They do remind me of one another. They're not identical. But either way, that's Nightchild by Epichron and also Twin Peaks by Epichron. So these are currently selling at Lucky Scent. If you're curious to find out about them, head over to Lucky Scent. I have a link in the info box. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. Click that bell icon also so you'll be notified for any future videos, and give a thumbs up for this video to help with the algorithm. See you guys later. Bye-bye.